Over 28,000 of you voted to see a Stand Science on the mom of Part 5's cast, Bruno. So yeah, adhesive appendages is really sticky. But how sticky might this guy be? With how sticky this guy is, you might have some treble getting away. Think stickier than Whitesnake slime, or Rimuru Tempest, or even Nickelodeon slime. But how sticky can the zippers be if they stick to everything? So, adhesives are the best bet. You can't stick to a surface without some support. But what is adhesion? Adhesion is the tendency for different surfaces to stick together. Similarly, cohesion is the tendency for similar surfaces to stick together. Alright, that makes sense. But what kind of adhesion could sticky fingers be using? There are three main types of adhesion we'll be looking at today: chemical adhesion, mechanical adhesion, and dispersive adhesion.
Some people think they can eat the Flexseal family of products. You can. Don't eat them. Don't ingest them in any shape or form. They're not to be eaten.
There are many types of adhesives, including resins, hot melt, contact spray, acrylic, anaerobic, conductive, pressure, and epoxy. Glue is the most common chemical adhesive, but some other common ones include cement, mucilage, and paste. Chemical adhesives are primarily organic, and there are many natural ones. Starch and natural gums come from corn and trees. If it's made from animals, it's extracted mammalian collagen, treated with acids and hot water until it becomes soluble. In layman's terms, it means Slow Dancer's gonna have a really bad day. So what is stickiness measured in? The standard is a force over an area, so newtons per millimeter squared. But it can always be converted to PSI, so some of the strongest adhesives are epoxy, which have a tensile strength of 35 to 41 newtons per millimeter squared, or 5,100 to 6,000 psi. For reference, Gorilla Glue is a polyurethane, which is slightly weaker than Gorilla Epoxy. Epoxy is made up of two things, resin and hardener, while polyurethanes require water from a moist surface to initiate a chemical reaction, which makes the glue stick. How can we judge how strong the zippers are? Well, we know they're stronger than your normal zipper because they can support Bruno's body weight, just like when he used it to escape the boss. So while a chemical adhesive would definitely be enough strength to hold Abakio or Trish's hands together, it wouldn't be enough to support someone's body weight. In this very scene, the zippers aren't only supporting Bruno, but Trish as well. For the purpose of this video, I'm assuming Bruno is about 73 kilograms and Trish is about 45 kilograms, which means their total mass is 118 kilograms. So, sticky fingers isn't actually sticky in the sense that it's slimy. I mean, that makes me a little disappointed, but it makes sense, because there's no residue left behind when the zippers disappear. So what's our next option? Could it be a mechanical adhesion like Velcro? Unlikely. Velcro and some other mechanical glues rely more on cohesion, where there are similar surfaces sticking together. So that only leaves one possible thing: dispersive adhesion.
This jungle nymph secretes a thin film of fluid from a gland, which makes a tacky bond between its foot and the glass wall. But geckos don't leave sticky fingers!
Did you ever wonder how geckos are able to cling to walls without being sticky? It's an interesting question that's been puzzling great minds since Aristotle casually mentioned it. Let me introduce you to my friend, Johannes Diederik van der Vels. This Dutch physicist worked on describing the behavior between gases and liquids. This led to the determination of the van der Waals force between uncharged molecules. It's weird because in English it's van der Waals instead of van der Waals, but I guess it makes sense because geckos are climbing der walls.
Boo! You stink!
Du plant!
It's really interesting how powerful these little forces are, which is why engineers are trying to perfect this biologically inspired idea from geckos. What causes a gecko to stick are the weird pads on its toes. There are these strange hairs called setae on the rigid structures. On the tips of those setae are even more bristle-like structures called spatulae. These hairs bend in particular ways to maximize the surface area of contact, consequently from quantum dynamics. The van der Waals force is caused by the fluctuating polarizations of close particles. Biologists tested whether geckos could stick to polar silicon dioxide and non-polar gallium oxide, and found it could stick to both equally, which confirmed the use of the van der Waals force. What happens is positive charges from the contact surface align with negative charges from the pads of the gecko's feet. While these forces alone aren't nearly as strong as charged forces, together they can become really powerful. This is why engineers have been trying to make similar synthetic pads for robot and human use. Some of these are really cool. One that really caught my attention was the Sticky Bot from Stanford. Another thing that can increase surface area would be to create trapezoids going down the backs of the zippers, because the bottoms of the trapezoids would be larger than their tops. Since I didn't have time last episode to talk about the van der Waals force, with sheer heart attack being able to climb walls and stuff, I thought it was appropriate to put it here. But one question remains. What about pocket dimensions? Would Bruno accidentally run into an armless Avdol hiding somewhere while he's traveling through realities? Likely, no. This is going to be a quick aside from a physicist who knows the basics of quantum mechanics and subatomics. Pocket dimensions, if they were to exist, would require an immense amount of energy to keep open for an extended period of time, which requires these zippers to be as strong as possible. Now the question is, would the van der Waals force be strong enough to hold up a pocket dimension? Nah. Well, the fact that modern applications can barely hold up a human makes me think no. It's still a fun thought experiment. I mean, that's the whole point of Stand Science. These are the best thought experiments we can come up with from JoJo's.
She said, do you think you can help me with the zipper? Do you think you can do that much? Oh, baby. Old Ben says, yeah, I can do it. I can do it. He grabs that zipper and goes on up there, gets up there, and he thinks, sticky finger!
Thank you so much for watching. I just wanted to catch everyone up on what's been going on recently. For those who've been asking me to create a Discord server, I joined my friend Mr. Meatman on his, so if you want to see more of us, then definitely check that out. I'm an official story creator for Amino, and I guess YouTube now, where I'm currently making content for the anime and JoJo's Amino. You can always connect with me directly there or on Twitter if that's your thing. Thank you again so much for the continued support. Have a beautiful Duang, and arrivederci.